Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have this amazing, basically the last of its kind. This is the Dodge Charger Hellcat Redeye, one of the most powerful muscle cars ever made. Just starting with this front end, it looks so aggressive. You do have this real functioning hood scoop right over here, real vents over here to get the heat out of the engine, which I will go over in a bit. We do have these fully LED headlights right over here, our SRT badge with the Hellcat badge right over there. And this is the wide body version, so we do get the wide body kit on here as well. So as you can see, it's a little bit wider compared to the normal Charger. We do have this carbon fiber hood going on. We do have these 20-inch rims with these are blacked out. They look so neat with this black paint as well. We do have these Brembo SRT brakes, which are also ceramic, so we do get the stopping power we need, as well as adaptive suspension. And since this is the Redeye, we can see the Redeye logo right inside of the Hellcat. Okay, so starting with the back, we do have these LED taillights going all the way through. We have dual exhaust, which sounds amazing. We do have functional air vents on the side to get the heat out of the brakes. And a really nice spoiler as well. What you just heard was this 6.2 liter supercharged V8, which makes 797 horsepower and 707 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It only powers the rear wheels. And then it's actually kind of amazing that the 0 to 60 time is 3.6 seconds for a vehicle that actually weighs quite a much, and then also it only powers the rear wheel drive. So traction isn't an issue, especially with this vehicle, putting 800 horsepower to the ground just by the rear wheels. This is also keyless entry. Though this interior is amazing, most people will just say it's a Dodge, the interior sucks, but it doesn't. It's really nice. We do have this red key, of course. It does say SRT and has the Redeye Hellcat as well. So you actually get two keys with this vehicle. You get the normal black one. That doesn't unlock the full performance. If you want the full performance, then you have to start it with this red key. Let's push start. Wow, there you go. The growl of that V8 is phenomenal. Okay, and then just from the start of it, just this dashboard layout. Dodge really didn't change that much. This like current layout is coming from 2013 to all the way to basically 2023 when they entered the production of the SRT, and they decided to go with the newer generation, which doesn't come with a V8. However, this layout, I really like it. It's actually focused towards more the driver, and it feels really comfortable. We do have all soft touch material going all the way through. This gorgeous soft leather. There's no creaks. It feels really solid. Same thing goes with the dash. We do have leather all over. However, it's not that basically that like soft leather, but it still feels really nice. We do have this carbon fiber going all the way throughout the dash, all the way around the speedometer. However, this is all hard plastic. I wish they did made it also carbon fiber, like we have it right over here. We do have this leather heated steering wheel. It does say SRT, which is a really nice touch instead of just saying Dodge like how we get it basically in the RT and stuff. They put SRT to actually make this vehicle special, which it is special. Right over here we do have our automatic headlight controls and also to open the rear trunk. This is all hard plastic though. I wish they could have just put carbon fiber around this. It would have looked amazing. And we do have this amazing gauge cluster right over here. The heighty thing I like about it is that it's actually analog, and then especially for a sports vehicle like this, it needs to be analog. And then we do have a small driver display over here. It does look small, but in fact it's actually really much customizable. We can use the controls right over here. For example, right now it's on the fuel economy, and then as you can see, the fuel economy does suck. As you can see, currently it's like around, I would say like around 70% of the tank is full, and it's giving me a range of 83. So if you are gonna drive this vehicle really aggressively, floor it all the time, you're not gonna really get the efficiency out of this. Of course, this is meant for performance. It's not meant for efficiency. And right now the average is 7.2 miles per gallon, which is kind of insane. And as I was talking before, it is customizable. I can go through different things, and yes, if I do have customization. So for example, right now here I have the compass. I can just change this, let's say the outside temperature or the time. So now it was showing me the time, which is amazing. And just hear that V8, especially with that supercharger line. That thing's phenomenal. And it also says SRT right over here, right on top of miles per hour. It says SRT to actually remind you that you do have like a special performance vehicle. We do have pedal shifters, however, but the only thing I don't like is they're actually plastic. I wish they were metal, because at the end of the day, you are going to probably be using these pedal shifters a lot, so they needed to be metal. And the other thing I don't like is the way they're positioned. As you can see right over here, the pedal shifter part is right over here. These are actually to adjust the volume of the radio and stuff. So I wish they could have just put that like how we have it in other sports vehicles all the way through down here, instead of putting it on the top. That's the only thing I kind of don't like about this interior. And then moving on with the center right over here, as I was saying before, we do have a lot of carbon fiber going on. We do have this 8.4 inch Uconnect system, and just like other Dodge, it's actually quite nice. You can feel a little bit of lag in this system, but however, I really do like it. We do have heated vented seats, as I was saying before, heated steering wheel, but the thing is, it can only be controlled from this infotainment system. We can't control it from anywhere else. We do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We do have built-in map system as well, but however, the CarPlay will only work if you have it plugged in via USB. We don't have wireless CarPlay and stuff. Of course, we do have two different things over here, which I will go over in a bit. We do have the SRT mode and the SRT dashboard. They can also be adjusted from right over here. We do have the SRT right over here instead of heavy. We do have the sport and the RT and stuff, but in here we have the SRT. Once I press the SRT, it will bring me the SRT dashboard. So basically over here, I do have launch control. I can adjust the launch control and stuff. We have launch control, and we also have this, which is pre-stage, and we also have a chiller as well. So like basically what it does, instead of sending the HVAC air in, it just like uses that to just cool the engine and the supercharger. And that's kind of insane. And if you think about it, it does make 797 horsepower. So of course you do need all of that cooling and stuff. We do have different drive modes if I press over here. So for example, now it's showing me I do have the red key. There you go, as I was saying, talking about the key before. And if I am using this red key, it does give me the full performance, which is 797 horsepower. And right now it's on auto. We're in auto. It just turns the power, and the rest everything is in street mode. But let's say I put it in track mode. Now, as you can see, it does disable our traction control. Is disabled. And now it did turn on the extra fan turns on to actually cool the engine. I can hear the fan turning on, and now it's in transmission. Everything is in track. The suspension is in track. Everything is in track mode. And we do have sport mode. It's basically like a little lower than the track. We have custom, where I can adjust my own settings, and I have auto. All of this is actually really nice. I really do like it. It's actually really easy to use. And however, surprisingly, we do have an eco mode as well. Once I put into eco mode, it basically will just try to consume less, be like a little bit more fuel efficient. However, I don't really see this vehicle being used in eco mode, because at the end of the day, this is more of like an sports car. Of course, we can't call it a sports car because it's only fast in a straight line. We can't really track this thing. We have literally this zero traction with this thing. So there you go. We do have a lot of more options. We do have line lock ready. Of course, I can't show you that right now because I'm currently at the dealership. What that will do is it will brake the front wheels, and then it will basically spin up the rear wheels to like basically like warm them up. And it's actually like a really crucial if you are doing a drag strip, drag race. You like really need to warm those tires up in order to actually get the grip you need. There's the chiller mode, and now the chiller is turned on. Okay, so now the chiller is activated, and basically the HVAC system just turned off. So now it's using that same cool air in order to actually just cool the interior. Is actually being used to cool the supercharger chiller. So that's actually like a really nice touch that we have. And the thing is, we do have the control over it if we do want to. So that was the SRT dashboard. Then we have the SRT mode. Basically, it's kind of just the same thing, to be honest, but they did add 2 extra controls for them. And we do have the performance pages as well. It does take a little bit of time to load them up when you do start the vehicle for the first time. Okay, so basically here is the performance pages. It just like shows you your current gear, your horsepower, your current power that you're making. So I'm gonna floor a little bit. There you go. You can see it jumping. We do have a 0 to 60 built-in timer as well. We do have other gauges: our oil temperature, coolant temperature, battery voltage, transmission to air fuel ratio. And this is actually a really nice touch that like we do have this feature for us to see. And then also this like same thing can also be brought up on the instrument cluster as well. There we go, our intake air temperature, a G-force monitor as well, and also our engine. It does show your current boost, your pound, your torque. I'm gonna floor it a little. There you go. And we do have a Dyno Mode. It's basically just to check how much power you're making and all that stuff. So really nice, and it's like really easy to use. As I was saying, we can feel a little bit of lag, but other than that, it's amazing. We do have a dual climate HVAC system as well. We do have physical controls down here below to adjust it, but we also have controls on the display as well. On the top here, we have the controls to adjust for our audio system, and down here below, we have to adjust your HVAC control. We do have a little bit of storage here. I wish they could have added a no wireless charging pad, but we really don't have that option. We have a 12-volt lighter port right over here. And right over here, we do have all this carbon fiber. It does feel amazing. Of course, we do have the Dodge gear shifter, and then if I wanted to put it into manual, I just put it into manual, and now I can change the gears by using the pedal shifters. And we do have this kind of plastic. I wish they could have just added something else. However, we do have 2 cup holders right over here, and quite a decent amount of room in our center console that does give you access to the USB-A ports to actually power the CarPlay. And the other thing I like is these seats are so comfortable. I like personally drive a Cadillac CT6, which is supposed to be a luxury vehicle. However, these seats are even more comfortable than a Cadillac. And as you can see, it has this red trim, which is also matches with our red trim on the doors. It does say SRT right over here. However, I wish they did add the Redeye as well. That would have looked amazing. So that's a really nice touch. We do have a power sunroof. However, the sunshade is actually manual. I wish it was also power, but it's fine with that. And we do have this all Alcantara wrapped headliner, which is amazing because most Dodges just have a regular one. Okay, so here in the second row, just like the front row, these red seats, they're super comfortable. They're like really kind of like squishy type. And just like the front, we do have soft leather right over here, the red soft trimming going around. We do have 2 air vents and then 2 USB-A ports, and then we do have heated seats. Unfortunately, we don't have vented seats, and it's not even an option. We only have heated seats. Even though this is more like a muscle car, we still do get a lot of storage in the rear trunk. So at the end of the day, this is like a really practical car. I would really like to thank Ride and Drive here in Garland, Texas for allowing me to film this charger. They do have a massive selection of different luxury vehicles, including AMGs, G-Wagons, Lamborghinis, and even Maybachs. So please do go check them out. And then if you guys did find this video interesting, please do like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.